You're listening to an Airwave Media Podcast.
Hi, my name is Blake, and I have just a quick note before we get started. Actually, it's more like a recommendation because this podcast is an immersive audio storytelling experience. Part fact, part fantasy. It's best that you listen with headphones on, imagination on, and everything else turned off. Also, I made an explicit promise to the owner of the property from today's episode that you and I are about to take a sonic adventure to. Please don't try to explore it without permission. You will get arrested, and they mean it. Okay, now that's out of the way. Welcome to Abandoned, the All-American Ruins podcast.
So you've come to work in a tuberculosis sanatorium. This is the day when the dream becomes real. And I know how you feel.
Season 4. Lurana, you were on my mind.
But do you have any idea how we feel about your arrival? Here's a clue. Notice how people's eyes light up when you say, "I'm the new nurse." Tomorrow will be a big day. For a moment, you'll wonder where you are. And then suddenly you'll remember. A new cap is a small thing to everybody but a new nurse on her first job.
It bears repeating. You're on my mind, Lurana, as I time travel inside the abandoned sanatorium called the Nopeming, Ojibwe for in the woods, which it is.
Wow. What a sight. Golly, this thing is enormous. Man alive.
Your brain, however, did slowly contract the disease of forgetting after Grandpa died. And that was challenging to watch, even if only for the brief hour I experienced it when we said goodbye at the nursing home in a Seattle suburb.
Gosh, yeah, I don't know why. But, I can't help but think of Lurana. Grammie.
Upon reflection, my experience of watching you, Lurana Ann Persing, suffer from dementia was nothing exceptional.
People who have Alzheimer's disease can forget about it, but those around them can't.
Dementia is an umbrella term for diseases characterized by a decline in memory, language, and other thinking skills needed to perform everyday activities.
Dementia cases are projected to double in the next 35 years. That's according to a recent CDC study. It's alarming. The Alzheimer's Association reports that more than 6 million Americans are currently living with the disease.
Data is data. And yet it doesn't stop the sadness I still feel around watching my favorite grandmother forget everything.
Lurana Ann Persing, Grammie, just in my head suddenly. You've absolutely no connection to Minnesota whatsoever, and yet here you are.
I peer past the curtains, breezy hostages dangling in a closed window. Rough pieces of fabric, abducted from the late 1960s and brought to the present, coated in an elongated oval pattern that's covered by muted earth tones, beige, brown, pub mustard yellow. Lurana. I can't see the giant metal cross that's stitched to the top of the sanatorium entryway, but I know it's there. I try to remember if you and I ever went to church together. We must have, but I honestly don't know. I glance around the room and catch my jagged reflection in a beat-to-hell, moldy Fort Howard paper towel dispenser on the wall, and a sticker that screams, "E. coli happens. Wash your hands." From the St. Louis County Department of Public Health sits next to my face in the makeshift mirror. Accurate, though the city of Duluth has never reported a single death from E. coli. Longtime Duluthians are essentially 100 times more likely to die of heart disease or cancer, a figure also gleaned from the CDC.
E. coli 0157H7, the deadly bacteria first discovered in hamburger in 1982, is spreading.
More cases of E. coli connected to lunch served at a school have been confirmed. Last week, health officials
say people infected with the E. coli bacteria may be unknowingly infecting others. More than 150 people have become ill after eating tainted hamburger meat at Jacksonville restaurant in Idaho and Washington State. One child has died. Steve Williams reports.
Your scolds were world famous. Soft, but intimidating. But mostly you were a teacher when it came to hygiene. You taught me I should scrub between my toes and behind my ears. I'm sure Mom taught me that too, but it's your voice I remember telling me when I was still young enough for you to help me take a bath.
Keeping clean and neat is a matter of forming good habits and letting them work for you. The most important thing, of course, is a daily shower or a tub, whichever you like, morning or night. Remember your ears. They need a soapy washcloth. When you wash your feet, be sure to...
I looked down at a tall industrial bathtub, no doubt installed after the building evolved into assisted living in the early 1970s, and jiggle the handle of the Safety Mix VisuTemp water temperature control handle.
Hydrotherapy, treatment with water, lends itself especially to the re-establishment of movement and the application of changes of temperature to stimulate and re-educate the circulation.
When mobility becomes limited for any reason, it's time to consider a Premier Care walk-in bath with our exclusive Hydrovesin therapy.
Every 18 seconds, a senior in America injures themselves falling around the bathtub. That's 2 million people in the U.S. each year.
I turn the on-off knobs underneath reservoir fill and tub fill lines and press the whirlpool button on. Then off, then on, then off again. My mom told me that it used to drive you crazy. How much I loved pressing buttons. Elevators, cashier stations, controls for the VCR.
You know, you gotta wonder how many times they actually deep cleaned this big old tub before Nopeming closed in, 2002, I think?
I can't help but talk to you. Like, you're here with me.
Well, just so you know, Grammie, I still wash down my kitchen sink with a sponge each and every time I use it. Really.
I know how important that was to you, and now it's important to me, too. I stare down a long, sharp hallway passing almost spooky graffiti of black handprints and the words, "They made me," painted across. Kids are funny, especially when you hand them a can of spray paint. I stroll by fading letters on the opposite wall that almost spell X-ray laboratory, except the ORY in laboratory is gone, and I come face to face with a small General Electric light switch, circa mid-20th century, connected to yellow caution tape.
Late in 1895, Professor Wilhelm Conrad Röntgen first introduced his discovery of X-rays. However, it was not until 1913 that their use became certain and reliable. In that year, the hot cathode X-ray tube was introduced by Dr. William D. Coolidge of the General Electric Research Laboratory.
There's also a note card, handwritten, taped to the wall.
Please do not turn the two switches off.
I turn the two switches off.
Sorry, Grammie.
In speaking of X-rays, therefore, it is a privilege to be able to present Dr. Coolidge himself.
I don't know if you ever saw what a mischief maker I became. I know you watched, unknowingly, the beginning phases of my plunge into alcoholism. I think I'll always be embarrassed that you flew all the way to Boston to see me perform on that harbor cruise, even though I'd already been fired for stealing liquor. My boss was gracious enough to let me board the boat and sing to you. While you didn't know the details, I knew that you knew something wasn't right. And I'm sorry for that too, Grammie. By that point, though, you were either too far down the dementia hole, or you were just too old to care. Or both. As I walk into the forgotten theater and look up, I realize how much I miss your wicked sense of humor. Even as a kid, I knew that you knew how to laugh. You had this razor-sharp wit about you that you rarely showed, or at least that's the way my memory has always projected it. Because of you, and Mom, I'm so proud of my own repartee. I study the bland ceiling tiles above the proscenium and listen to the cooing and flapping of the pigeons who live on the pipes above. I imagine a room filled with bleeding lungs, observing a sad talent show put on by patients, and I picture you watching me on stage as a child, too short to convincingly play Enjolras in Les Miserables, or too queer to play Lancelot in Camelot. I sit on the edge of the stage, and I close my eyes, and I picture our last 10 minutes together. It was also a sanatorium of sorts. A nursing home that also felt gray inside. We sat together in the dining hall. I don't remember if we said much. I know at one point, I looked at your hands and couldn't help but draw lines and create shapes between the spots and bruises and wrinkles covering each hand like the top sheet that I fold over my blanket and tuck underneath my comforter when I make my bed. I still make my bed every single day, Grammie. I make it the same way you taught me to make it. In fact, it's one of the most important parts of my sobriety because it helps me start each and every day with immediate and intentional structure. Wake up, make bed, don't drink, repeat. As a kid, you seemed immortal to me, omnipresent. When I was little, I never thought about your earthly departure because that thought would have been inconceivable to my little brain. Even if I'd had the capacity to be conscious of your mortality, I just knew that when it happened, I felt sad. And I felt vindicated at just how sad I felt because I watched how sad Mom got after you died. I wonder if you looked at my hands too. When I played the piano for you that last time, echoing throughout the dining hall. It didn't even occur to me until you started bragging to your friends that I would likely lose you soon. As with so many moments in life, it's impossible to prepare for the moment it happens. You were my first major loss. The kind that changed the way the air feels in my lungs, the way that I feel things in my body, the way my very own brain chemistry feels. A response to the mind-numbing notion that I have no idea if I will ever see you again. I'd like to think that I will.
I used to have a terrible fear of dying. I think most people do, but I don't have that anymore.
And how did you overcome it?
Well, I just don't know. I don't know whether that comes with time or whether you feel like old age has brought that on, or whether when you give up your home and your husband.
The cross above this empty sanatorium turned nursing home tells me that there are those who would say if we both took Jesus as our Lord and Savior, we'd see each other again in heaven someday. I know that you went to church. I did too, yet somehow, even though I can't be sure, I imagine that you and I had pretty similar thoughts about the Judeo-Christian system of faith. Faith in general. I walk past a room filled with empty bed frames. I cast a doleful look up at the windows, cracked and covered, and I think about your last bits of oxygen. I wonder if the chair where you died was comfortable. Somehow, I begin to convince myself that my understanding of our deep connection was erroneous. But a few months go by, and Mom tells me a story about the nursing home that stops that thought dead in its tracks.
After we moved your Grammie to Washington, she eventually left her apartment and ended up in a rehab center because of osteoporosis and breakage, as well as memory issues. And so I flew out to see her and was pretty heartbroken at the changes that had occurred from the last time I had seen her. It was a nice rehab center. I think you visited and played the piano for all the people, which they were very grateful for. And she had a nice little room, and the only picture she had on the wall was a picture of you. She was very attached to the picture, but she was also very worried about it and urged me to take it with me so that nothing would happen to it. And I told her it would be fine where it was. But before I went, your Aunt Robin had said that, she was going to ask me to take it because she was really worried about someone taking it, but that she was kind of obsessed with it. And I found that to be true. But I think she loved you very much, Blake, and wanted to keep you close by, but also didn't want anything to happen to you. And I think it all became symbolized in that picture. And I tugged her into keeping it, and she had it with her, as far as I know, when she was moved to a memory care unit where she passed away.
After she told me that story, I stopped trying to convince myself that we didn't have this special connection, that it wasn't anything less than extraordinary.
So, Grammie, you're so late.
Is it a Santa Claus though? What is that, a wagon?
Oh, look at that. Truck and a car.
Yes.
You want to open it?
Yes.
Okay, you open it. Is this a teddy bear?
No.
Teddy bear.
I wander outside, where I speak your name into the blue Minnesota sky. The ground is covered in artifacts, bicycle helmets, medicine bottles, a stethoscope, old washers and dryers, a fridge. I'm careful not to step on anything. Despite the fact that I have the property owner's permission to be here, I still chuckle at the posted "No trespassing, keep out" sign. Then immediately wish you'd gotten to see me sober. I think that we would have had a lot of fun together. I climb into the caretaker's van to leave the property. As the vehicle circles around the parking lot and starts down the long driveway to the main highway, I turn around to take one last peep at the building. I see the word Chateau, a stunning overhang at the property entrance. I look for you in the window above it and don't see you. And for some reason, that makes me smile. If you're just tuning in, welcome to the 4th season of Abandoned, the All-American Ruins podcast. Join me every other week as I take you on an immersive sonic journey, recounting my expeditions of abandoned spaces across the United States, which I transform into fantastical audio experiences that allow you, dear listener, to dive into my imagination with me, or maybe inspire you to go out and use your own. If you don't want to miss it, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And please remember to subscribe, rate, and review if you think of it. Also, if you like to read or enjoy amateur photography, just know that each episode this season is adapted from the original All-American Ruins blog, where you can catch up on more of my adventures. Just visit allamericanruins.com or follow me on Instagram at allamericanruins. Abandoned, the All-American Ruins podcast is hosted, written, edited, and produced by me, Blake File, with studio space courtesy of Radio Kingston, WKNY AM 1490, FM 1079 in Kingston, New York. And big thanks to my good buddy Steph for providing very valuable feedback on every script for every episode this season, and my brilliant mom Beth, not only for just helping me out tremendously with this particular episode, but for editing every blog post that I ever transformed into these audio adventures. And of course to you, Grammie, Lorena Ann Persing Ferguson. I miss you so much every single day, and I hope you're listening. And thank you, my friend, for taking the time to explore these abandoned spaces with me.